Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about the Martin Stimming Instant Mastering Chain. It's a collaboration between Doctron and Martin that is one of my favorite artists and product demoer, person that really know about music. I met him in May at Super Booth and he sent me a loan unit to test it. By now in the market there's not really any box that are devolved to mastering, especially during a live situation. So these apparently should take care of that. So far I used the OTO Boum, that is one of my favorite unit. Is a distortion that has also a compressor and a filter, and I mostly use just for compression duties at the end of the chain. So I want to compare the two units. Of course, they're aimed at a different market, a different person. And to do that, since we are talking about mastering, I have this loudness meter that is free. You can download it too. It's called ULean, where we can actually more scientifically try to analyze what's happening. So before going on, as usual, somewhere you can support my page and my mission, you can you can buy from the affiliate link down below. You can share this content and like it and subscribe. And finally, you can become a Patreon. In Patreon, I usually go more in depth, and I will also put the file, some file for comparison for you to download and check it on your DAW. So I will try to match the peak and have the same pattern pass through the first clean, then pass through the IMC, and then into the OTO Boum. So you can, do your own conclusion. So let's first start analyzing what it is, this box, what is aimed for. So when you play electronic music, if you are a performer, most of the time you will have to deal with, say you play in a festival or whatever, the other people that play before you or after you might be DJs, or might be people that actually play stems or music that has already mastered. So the problem that Martin faces is like, how can my loudness, my perceived loudness, match the one of a DJ that actually has finalized track that has played mastered. So again, there's a hole in the market. There's no any box or portable solution for that. And again, the Boum, it had some gluing and compression to your end of chain, but definitely doesn't offer you a lot of control on that. And it's more, I feel, a creative box, because you can add distortion, you had a filter, so it's great. But if you want to really do some sort of mastering to your live setup, it's probably not the best unit. You can obtain that with 500 boxes, like using the API launch boxes, and there's many unit you can buy and you can put together to create that. But definitely this is a very small unit, and it sounds great. It's aimed to a professional public, for a professional target. It's an expensive box. It's made on order, and using all the best component. So it's one of those things that had that 5-10% to what you already have, that can be, not necessary to most of us. But if you are a performer, a top-tier performer like Stimming, you might want to, match all the other DJ, all the other people. So this can be very useful. So when you hear about the price that is around the $3,000, it might sound like crazy to most of us because we are not professional performer. But if you are a professional performer, this is the only box right now that can cover that needing. And considering how it's made, how it sounds, it's something that the price doesn't surprise me. Now, this isn't alone, just for full disclosure. For what I do, I'm mostly a studio guy. It's not, maybe it's not something that I would buy. I would love to have it, and I would use it all the time with my live setup. I would use it also to record stuff through it, because it's great on drum bass. It's great. It's a professional eye-hand tool. So if you're a performer, you should consider it. If your life is your work is performing live with these boxes, this can add something to your setup. That said, let's just see how it works. So I'm using the syntakt because it's one box that offers it all. It can give you drums, it can give you so I have we will go through few patterns, see how this works, and then compare with the Boum. So before that, what is mastering really? Mastering, to me at least, it's while keeping the true peak at a tamed, and usually you put a ceiling. In mastering is always, could be minus 0.1, minus 3, depends what is your output. You want to glue everything and push the perceived loudness. That now there's this LUFS, that is the measurement of that. So how this unit work and how I follow the instruction that Martin sent me is like you keep the true peak the same so first without the machine and then with the machine, and then the machine is able with this internal compression drive and if you want EQ to push the perceived loudness. And usually you can get a few dB of that, 2-3 dB, that it might seem not a lot, but actually it makes feel your track, your pattern, whatever it is, bigger, and then it adds the glue. So it's something that it's like when you use that SSL G compressor on your bass and you feel that everything is cohesive, everything sounds more pro, sounds more how you say, professional. That machine do that, and also the Auto do that a little, so that's why I use that so far. It has two circuits, the feed backward and feed forward. The forward is most the one that would be most used and more available on the modern machine, and the backward is more of a classic vintage circuit, and it depends where it change where the machine read the line in, the volume that get in. I don't want to get too much technical because I'm not that technical, but I read how I should work with that, and we will go through that. So just to give you a quick rundown, you have an input section where you can tame the level coming out of your machine. Then you have a threshold where you set up the threshold of your compressor. Let me see that we see everything here, yes. Then you have the ratio, attack, and the release. So this is your compressor part. Then you have the drive, and then from the drive, you go through the output. So as Martin said, the union of all of this part is what makes this machine interesting. So rather than just set up each part by itself, you need to work it out and feel when it's the right spot, sweet spot. You also have an EQ that is meant to be used when you play at the venue to compensate if there's a lack of high end, of a low end. It's only have low and high. So I think it's a shelving unit. But it sounds pretty good, so you can use it creatively, actually, if you want. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna play some pattern and then work the things. So I already have this one. So this is clean without any compression or things going on. I'll bring here because we need to reset the meter here. So right now the true peak is around -11. What you want to do is turn on this. So the true peak is almost the same, but as you feel, the loudness, the perceived loudness is better. So we have a -23, -24, while without is a -26. So you have 2 or 3 dB averagely of perceived loudness more. And while you might think, so because this is an important concept here that I actually learned with this machine, you might think, so of course, if you perceive more loudness, your ear tricks you and tell you it sounds better. But that's what this machine is about. You will keep your true peak, so how your pattern, whatever it is, peaking, but you will push the perceived loudness to make people feel better. So your music will sound better. So you can actually match the LUFS of both this and that, but I don't think that is the aim of this machine. The aim is actually make you feel the music louder, to make you feel the music better. So as you can hear here, your peak is gonna be the same, but without, there's less gluing, there's less, perceived loudness. And here is way better, right? So let's start from scratch and how we should work. So keep using this thing. I set the input, so if you use the feed forward circuit, the advice is to start with the input at -10. So we keep the output as is, we remove all the drive, and 0 dB is the threshold of the compressor, mean that nothing happen. And I'm putting the ratio at 1.2, so not very strong. The attack is advisable to use 0.1 or 0.3, and the release could be 0.1, 0.3 or auto. This is what Martin advised me to do, the setting that he prefers, and I actually have to agree that are the nicest ones. So we can start. We can activate it. So as you can hear, the moment you activate the input that start at -10, it got lower. So what he advised to do, it's like start pushing the drive, because the magic happens in this drive guy here. So you want to push it until you start hearing a clipping. And here it is, we can hear the clipping right now. So what happened now is you want to use the threshold until you hear the clipping goes away. And here already the clipping is gone away, and we are just having a ratio of 1.2. We can push the drive more if we find it nicer. And maybe push the ratio 1.4 and push more the threshold. When you use the feed forward circuit, it's not unusual to go with the threshold almost all the way up. So already now, as you can hear, this is without and this is with. There's still clipping happening, so we want to push the threshold and maybe get back a little on the drive. We keep using the attack at 0.3, so pretty fast attack. We can go even stronger because it's a mastering, so we don't want to, we can lose a little transient in here. So here without, here with. So now what we want to check is the true peak stuff. So let's reset the loudness meter and see where it peaks. -11.4, all right? So let's turn this on and let's go same. Now it's minus 11.9, so we can push a little. Here it is, more or less. Now we want to be. So what happened now? By having the same true peak, here how much the perceived loudness changed. So this is with, this is without. So in terms of LUFS, you are getting, so in this case, we have a minus 26.2 with it, minus 24.2. So basically, you got 2 dB of perceived loudness. It might seem a little, but you judge. I think it's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's do the same test now on the OTO. So the OTO is very simple. So you have, you turn it on, you have a compression circuit, you can decide the attack and the release. In this case, you want to attack more slower, otherwise it will kill your transient. And then you have a drive, filter, mix and level. So we can start pushing the compressor and you hear how much is compressing here. You can add some drive, like it happens on that one. Oh, sorry, it was down. So. And then let's do the same. Let's see how it's peaking here. It should be the same as before, minus 11.4. So let's add this. Now it's peaking minus 9, so we need to take this down a little. The distortion that you hear actually is also in the track, because I like. So here, as you see, is very hard to control it. While here is very precise, here it's not the same. Minus 11, come on. More or less. So this is without, sorry. And this is with. You can feel it. Not that much, but here it is. On this one, it's another word. And that's why I would love to have this unit, because it sounds great. It sounds really great for live purposes. This is really intense. So let's change pattern and let's use the feed backwards. Okay, let's now try with the feed backwards circuit. So we push this button, I choose another pattern, still kind of stuff that I do and I like, so it's... Let's see how this is peaking. So let's reset the peak. 9.6 is the average, the peak. So let's start working on this. So let's reset the machine. I put this on auto and let's turn it in. I feel the distortion from the drive, so let's start pushing the threshold. Let's tone down a little the drive here, because I like the drive of the syntakt. So I have some EQ, adding some high. So let's reset the true peak, was 9.7. There's a filter going on, so it might change during minus 11, minus 10. This this one we are minus 12, so we can pump a little more. Okay. This is the difference without, sorry, and with. Nice difference. The LUFS is minus 21, 22. This is like not a lot I do, so I think we can push it a little more. Peak is minus 10. Too much. Yes. Without. With. Set more compression. See here how it works with different setting. Without. With. Let's maybe choose another. This is not the best. Oh, let's use this one. Without. Let's check the peak, minus 9.3. We can pump here a lot. Here it is, LUFS from minus 18 minus 21. Yeah, the usual 2-3 dB of LUFS perceived loudness. Pretty nice. Let's hear with the auto. Nice as well. I mean, I'm using them in a very control and, you know, as a mastering thing, so not that has to be perceived too much. No, without. With. Without. Nice difference. Let's play with the IMC without and with. It's undoubtedly this sounds better. The perceived loudness, it's better. It's more glued together. This circuit sounds nice, different than the other one. The other one is more transparent to me. But yeah, we reach minus 18 LUFS. I like how the EQ works. Let's see without. Without. With. Nice. Do we have any other example? Let's see. Let's get another pattern. This is something techno-ish like that. Sounds good. So I noticed one thing, weirdly enough, that the syntakt output level is always kind of low. I never get too high, even if I push all the volume to the max. I don't know if there's something wrong that I do, but it's never too loud. That is fine, because there's some some noise going on in my apartment. It's always like leave a lot of space to push with the compressor and with that, so whatever, it's good. So this is peaking at -14, pretty low. This is peaking as -13, too much. Now it should be almost the same, and I'm feeling, even in this case, we go from -24 LUFS to 21, so again 2-3 dB, but let's add some by hand. This is a little too heavy on the low, with, without, way better, way better with, hear it. Everything is more cohesive. Pretty great. Let's hear the auto. Auto, you feel way more pumping. Still good. The problem with the auto is like that I really hate somehow. It's like when you push the drive, the volume goes bonkers, and that is something really annoying, because if you using it at the end of chain, I think I would have loved to have some way that there's an auto gain function while you push the drive, and the output section, react to that, because in this way you can't really play with the drive live, because you will definitely go out of scope right away. So you need to play with the level, so you have to push the drive and meanwhile lower the level, and it's not ideal for an end of chain pedal, so I end up never playing with the drive too much. That said, sounds great, no complaint on that. What else? I think that's about it. Let's hear back the front feed forward. See how when you go in feed forward, you need to lower the input a lot. Nice. Let's see the peaking here. -14. A little too much. -14. You can feel it's kind of low in volume in this case, but this is the lack of the octatrack, the lack of the syntakt. But you're still feeling the cohesion, the glueness that these things get. Let's move to conclusion. You can play it with the acoustic drum. Sounds all great. Now, I just wanted to go through my syntakt because lately I'm in love with this machine, so I'm using it a lot. Would I love to own one of these? Yes, I would. It's a great machine. It's well made. It sounds great. Is it for me? I don't know yet, because I'm not a performing artist yet. I hope I will become. So if I would play out a lot, I think this is a box that can really put you in the same league of all the other DJ that has the luck to play with mastered track. So if you're like super adamant in wanting your live show to sound as good as possible, this is by now one of the few boxes, or the only boxes, that can do that in a portable way. You can do that with, again, the API launch boxes, but that's probably set you up for a way more expensive game, and it's bigger and it's not as convenient as this one. You can be actually very happy and suffice to work just with the Boum. Like, there's incredible artists like Surgeon that use this as his end of chain. That's why I bought it, and it sounds great. it's enough, and most of the audience might not even perceive the difference between the two. Pretty sure nobody will. But as a nerd and as a love of tools for music and instrument and technology, I'm really glad that somebody's taking care of the mastering duties of a live artist. I wish in the future to see more of this kind of product. I wish to see these maybe in a more prosumer version that would allow everybody to own one if they go mass production. Right now it's only one person building these, so it's understandable that it's not for everybody. The two things that I not like too much is, one is that these miss a meter. So in a live situation, if you play DAWless, you won't go with an iPad or a computer to just check what the machine is doing. So you need to learn the machine by your ear, know what it does, and it takes quite a while to get proficient and comfortable with it. When you do that, then you know how it works and it's easier to get nice result. But of course, a meter would have been great. The other things that I would have loved is see these in a pedal factor, like with the all control face up, because these, you put it down and you cannot have a real, when you play standing, sing very well. But at the same time, this is not a kind of machine that you start playing it with. You go to the venue, you set up you do your sound check, you set this machine, and that's it. On a machine like the OTO, you play it. It's more of a creative thing, so you have the drive, even though that volume problem, you have the filter, you can actually engage with it more. And that's, I think, the real difference of these two things. One is aimed for your end of chain, you set up and you forget it, mostly, and you can do some correction on the EQ on the fly, but mostly something that once you set up correctly will sound good through your entire set. With the OTO, I feel it's more of a performative tool that allows you to use the filter, use the drive, basing on the mood, what you want to do. So it's great to have both. I would really love to own one of these. Yeah, let me thank Martin to send one. And if you're watching, Martin, I really like what you do, love your demos and love your music. So it's I feel honored to have the chance to talk with you and to have one. And that said, yeah, that's about it. I hope this was interesting, and I'll see you next week.